All right. Let's take a look at the positions here. So on an up day, my MES short puts, they're all fine. And these are longer dated trades anyway. They're going to take a little time to work, but they're working just fine. These things have been good trades since I put them on. Mainly just because when I put these on the market, we had a little bit more volatility. Volatility's come in. I mean, heck, one of these, I mean, I'm already at a 28% winner on this in 9 days. I put this on at 109 days, right? So in 9 days, then this is one of those things where people often say, you know, why don't you do 0 DTE trades or weekly trades? You know, some of these longer dated trades like the 60 DTE, or on my MES trades, I usually do 90 DTE. It's like, that's so much time to be in a trade. Well, you're not usually in those trades for the full duration. You know, if you actually get the move right, or in this case, the move and volatility right, you can get out of these things quickly for a 50% winner. So those are working. Just let it work. AMD. What did we get into AMD? Put on a call debit spread. So AMD, I had a position yesterday. What was my position? We did earnings. Wow. Look at this. My goodness. We may take, this may be, I put this on yesterday. We take it off the next morning. This is a call debit spread, and it's a nice one as far as we made a quick, hell, what did I pay for this thing? $187 debit. And we've already made about 80 bucks. I mean, it's a 45% winner. You know what? When they just hit you over the head with some free money, just take it. I'm going to put in a closing order for $85. And which might get triggered if we get another tick up here in AMD. But I was going to the chains here to see what was the last. Oh, I had a put ratio spread. We put this on for earnings. Earnings was great. Made 80 bucks on that, like in a 1 day trade. And then I was sitting around. I was like, I want to do something else in AMD because AMD was down on earnings a little bit. I wanted to be bullish because I thought, hey, it's down. Let's go the opposite direction. Put on the next trade. So I did this call debit spread. Out of the money, way out in time. But again, it's 99 days to expiration. I'm going to end up taking about 50% in 1 day, it looks like, purely by chance, you know. But hey, sometimes you get lucky. But I put on the call debit spread instead of, you know, something like a put ratio or a strangle, because those require high volatility. But after earnings, there wasn't high volatility. IV rank, you can see, is only 19 in AMD. So with low volatility, that's when I typically flip it around and do something that's a debit trade. Because in low volatility, you know, you're paying less for options. In high volatility, you'd be paying more, so it makes sense to sell them when IVR is high. Good. Got a strangle. The strangle is not doing well today because I've got some negative deltas. Even though I've got 2 puts versus 1 call. The call is 20 deltas. The 2 puts have 5. 2 times 5 is 10. So overall, the positions has 10 short deltas. These puts are a little bit too far out of the money. A 5 delta put is not what I want. And honestly, a 20 delta call is probably not what I want either. Let's go ahead and roll. Let's defend this a little bit. So let's roll the strikes up. And the 2 puts, I'm going to roll from 35. Let's roll all the way to 40. And the call, we're going to roll from 65 to 70. We're going to roll both up $5. So it'll still be a $30 wide spread, but we get our deltas back to where it's 2 times 11. And then on this side, 1 times 13. So we start landing a little bit long, which is what I wanted when I originally put this on, but hood just went up way too fast since I put this on. And now it had become a short delta position, which is not what I originally wanted. I can roll this, it looks like, for a 30-cent credit. See if they'll give me a couple bucks more for that. Put in an order for 32. Nah. Take it down to 31. If that gets triggered, it does. Now we're in a much better spot. on that hood strangle. Shopify for earnings. Down 5, but fine, was inside the expected move. It's a one-day trade. So let's see, would they give me a $56 credit? They did. So I probably gave up a couple of bucks. I probably should have ticked that up to 58, but hey, it's a one-day trade. So won $56 on Shopify. We lost $72 on ARM. That's about like the rest of the week. We keep scratching on these earnings trades. It's like I'll do, 4 earnings trades in a day, and I'll win on one, I'll lose on one, I'll scratch on 2, and in the end, I always say, these things, nobody can predict any of this stuff. Your guess is as good as mine. A lot of times you just come out break even, but a lot of this is just to follow along with the earnings event and just to have some market awareness. If you play all the big companies every quarter for their earnings, it gives you a little bit more, awareness of these individual tickers, so that, if it's something that you don't play often, but you play at least, 4 times a year on earnings, you know a little bit about the company. You know a little bit about the history of the stock, how it's behaved in the past. Check out Spot. I know you don't consider TA that much, but can't help but see that double bottom. All right, let's check out Spot. Ooh, my goodness. So just quickly looking at this chart, the most obvious thing is this is a runaway train to the upside, right? And it has been for years. But the last, typically, I don't go back and look, what's going on 5 years, 10 years ago, because that starts becoming almost irrelevant. But in recent history, look at what it's done in the last year, or the last, calendar year, like last 12 months. This thing, yeah. So for me, my immediate reaction would be, I do not want to short this thing. I know that's usually a lot of people try to be contrarians. They try to call a top on something and say, hey, I'm going to get short this thing. Yeah, and be careful with that, because I promise you, people were shorting it here. People were shorting it here. People were shorting it here. Yeah. But this is one I probably, again, this kind of chart where I see something like this, I just avoid it, because it is too dangerous if you're going to be directional. Just trying to pick a top is tough on a bearish play, and on a bullish play, well, I don't love getting bullish on something that's already had a move like this either. You could do directionally neutral things. I mean, the Iron Condor wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. IV rank, it's not great though right now. We've already had earnings in Spotify. IVX 45%, okay, but yeah, for me, I think I could go find some other things to trade. I'm assuming you were asking about the chart and the your double top, because you want to be directional in this. And if you have a directional assumption, if you just want to make a bet on something, absolutely, do what you think is right. For me, I'm gonna leave it alone. What kind of directional assumption did you have on it? Yeah, you think play it for a pullback? Yeah, that's what I assumed, but I wanted to make sure. Yeah, again, man, it's just hard, because until the stock tells you that it's pulling back, you can't just, it's just a complete wild ass guess just getting shorted today. You tried to set up a 112 but can't get enough for the risk. A 112, you're doing like a ratio spread, but you're selling 2 naked puts. Yeah, obviously that's a lot of risk, selling 2 naked puts, right? I mean, it's a lot of risk to the downside. If it, of course, that's not you said it was a bearish trade. Not really a bearish trade if you're going to do 2 naked puts on something. Really, overall, it's going to be a bullish trade, because it would have positive deltas. But if you do something like a ratio spread or a ladder, or something like that, where you buy a put and then sell at least 2 or more other puts, well, the extra puts you sell, You know, in this case, a ratio spread. Or if you're doing the latter, you know, sell one, then sell another one, maybe sell more down the. But overall, you're going to have positive deltas on this trade, so it will be a bullish trade. So not really a bearish trade at that point. If you're trying to capture some profit from this thing moving down into a range, something to consider would be probably go to the 43-day cycle, make it kind of a shorter trade. It'd be a debit trade, so we don't want to pay a terribly large amount of money, but do something like a something like this. This is a long put condor, essentially a butterfly, right? But in the butterfly, we would have the two strikes that are the same. We just split them up, right, and make it, instead of a butterfly, it's a condor. You take a look at the analysis, you know. So if you get Spotify falling into the condor, you'll make some money. And it's defined risk. You can size it, you know, depending on how wide you make the spread. You know, you can size it to be as small or as big as you want it, as far as, you know, how wide the condor is, and also how wide the wings are. You know, size it appropriately for what you're comfortable with. But that's probably, you know, that would be a smarter way. That way, you've already defined your risk. Just make sure you're comfortable taking the max loss, because who knows, Spotify may never have another downtick, right? So yeah, do something, defined risk, that is us, you know, again, something that's comfortable for you. Selling those two naked puts, though, that's on something that's a $650 stock. I'm not crazy about that, especially when you said you're bearish in it. So that was two defined spreads on the put side. Yeah, a condor and a butterfly. Butterfly spreads and condors, they're essentially the same thing. They are a combination of a credit spread and a debit spread. So on a put condor, if you're looking at my screen right now, you'll put on a put debit spread, and then somewhere lower, put on a put credit spread. The butterfly would just be the two options at the same strike. You know, one of them forms the debit spread, one of them forms the credit spread. That's a butterfly. Condor is just, we're splitting them up. The difference, of course, would be the risk profile. On a butterfly, you have that peak in the center. You know, it looks like a steeple, like a church steeple. Where the condor, you got this, you know, plateau. Max profit is more on a butterfly, but it's a lot less likely you're ever going to hit it. On a condor, max profit is a little less, but you got a much bigger range to land in. So those ratio spreads are kind of omnidirectional. Those are plays where you really don't know where the stock is going. Like when I think of a ratio spread, it's a bullish trade, but it's a bullish trade where I'm not that bullish. I really have no idea where Spotify is going to go if I'm putting on something like this. That's why I'm hedging my bets a little bit with the debit spread. That's my thinking with them anyway. Ratio spreads are kind of tough to wrap your head around because they've got that bullish and bearish component combined in them. Some people actually consider them a bearish trade because of the debit spread that's embedded in them. I think of it more as a neutral trade. Some people think of it more as primarily a bullish trade because it does have long deltas. But for me, yeah, I think more of it's mainly a neutral kind of play.